my beautiful Crystar family. Whoo, my star traveler friends. Let's dive into the next week as we're looking at the Pisces true sky energy that we're moving through. So, first of all, we are just still in the middle of the energy of the spring equinox. So, the first thing that I would just begin to ask is, how is this energy for you right now? Knowing that with the sun now fully moving into the gate 25, that this is such an important and an integral energy into remembering within our heart universal love. So, as we work with the report for this next week, we're going to be moving from the 22nd to the 28th of March, looking at this energy for this next 7-day period. And this is really directly coming right after the spring equinox time. So, as we are all really stepping into this incredible rebirth energy, that we really do have the opportunity to utilize a lot of the beautiful information that came from the last report and some of the energy within the star placements there that have been encouraging us to really take masterful mindfulness of our thoughts that move through our mind, and how are we really stepping into this heart-mind coherence as we begin to start to have a new language with all beings, be it the nature realms, the elemental realms, the different dimensional realms, the Davic realms, whatever that you are communing and connecting with, that we are having an absolute divine awakening within our heart to new levels of communication and communicating through heart mind. So let's dive right into what the energy is going to be for these next 7 days. Again, looking at March 22nd to the 28th, the primary energy that we have as we're coming out of the spring equinox energy is we're moving right into a Venus star point change, and the Venus star point being the primary energy that we really get to work with for this next cycle. So just diving in here. As we get to work with the energy of this next week, the primary reason why we are really starting to step in more and more, I think, as a collective, coming back to astrology, coming back to understanding the sacred science that used to be very much an everyday thing in our consciousness field in years past upon the earth. And as we're returning back into it, we're remembering that the rays do have an influence on our consciousness, that the rays are connected to planetary bodies and fixed stars, and that each of these are associated to what are referred to as rulers. And that if we do not take sovereignty of the energy that moves through us, then we will have other rulers dominating and controlling our life. And part of what we are doing is stepping forward as sovereign beings is recognizing that we are also stepping out of the victim-victimizer program, so that as we do this, we can begin to step forward into taking accountability for every thought, feeling, emotion, and action. And what a perfect time as we get to look at this through this next week, as we are now really emerging in through this energy of the spring equinox. But the spring equinox, again, is at a very important time where it is in the window or in the in-between time of where we've had our lunar eclipse, and preparing for that energy as we're eventually going to move forward into our solar eclipse, which we will prepare for when we get to that time. Now, for this particular next week coming up, this is going to be the blessings of our Venus star point, and we're also going to look at a little bit of energy this time through the Kuan Yin Oracle. So within here, as we again just touch on the energy of the gate 25, one of the things I wanted to give just a remembrance to within this energy, this is in the G center or the identity center, that yellow diamond in the middle of your human design rave. This is connected to universal love. It's the spirit of the self. It is the place where we learn to surrender to love, to find the spirit of our innocence. And within this doesn't come as just a rainbows and butterflies kind of thing. That really, to embrace the true power of the gate 25, that we have to go through initiations. we have to go through tests, that we test ourself in our integrity in multiple ways in order for us to recognize in what places are we still constricting ourselves, in what places are we still feeling left out, not loved, that we don't fit in, where are we still guarding our heart or blocking our heart, that any place where we are constricting ourselves to receiving love is also where we are constricting ourselves to be an emanation of this divine universal love. So, as we start to recognize these little things within ourselves, we are going to get to embrace more and more the beauty of the pain within our heart, because a lot of times the growth that we get through learning through relationships, through learning through heartache, through learning through just life experiences, that we would recognize that life on planet Earth comes with an array of emotions and energies. So we know that many times that is sometimes in these moments of growth or these moments of expansion that there can be sometimes that ache within the heart. But where can we start to embrace that as a way to, with love, gently almost let the petals of the rose of our heart to begin to open in order to find ourselves fully and completely becoming one with universal life force energy again? This is really special. This is going to be a big theme for us. We're coming out now of the gate 36. We've been in the gate 36 for a long time with a lot of prominent energies in the planets. There are still some planets that are holding the energy of the gate 36, but now we're kind of moving a little bit more heavily into an influence of the gate 25. It says here that if we become fearful, it constricts the flow of love, and this constriction is one of the deepest sufferings of humanity. And that when we flow with our spirit, when we become alive with the wonder of love and of being, that we begin to fully embrace the myth of the sacred wound. This really, really is so beautiful. And I definitely encourage, if you don't have your Gene Keys book from Richard Rudd, I talk about it a lot, I swear. I probably promote this book more than anything. I have mine all marked up and written in and all kinds of good stuff. And I definitely recommend it as a really great, great resource to have, because this one is so beautiful. And I'll just read the little quote from within here. And it says, "To be alive in a physical body can be experienced as the ultimate constriction, especially if your reality is rooted in fear." And this really goes a lot along with a lot of the Gnostic teachings. Within the Gnosticism and the Gnostic teachings, say the Nag Hammadi texts and these kinds of things, we're going to see it written all over again, that the spirit is eternal, it's boundless. And so when it merges in that relationship with matter and the physical form, that it can feel like a prison, it can feel like a constriction, it can feel like it is bound. And how do we start to embrace the limitless nature of our spirit, even within the matter, recognizing that matter is also just another expression of spirit in another form? And so I know within Gnosticism, there's a lot of talk about how the flesh can be binding and how one is not the flesh, that you are the spirit or the light or the divine within you. And absolutely, yes. And at the same time, I would really encourage us not to see the flesh, the body, the matter, or the womb creation that we are in as a prison, but rather as an experience. And that nothing binds us when our spirit is free. I do believe the Gate 25 is such a beautiful teacher for that. And I think we've all gone through our dance of definitely feeling constricted or restricted. And really, there is so much more beauty. There's so much more expansion. There's so much more of an experience of source and the divine when we don't start to find ourselves outside of matter or separate in any way from the body, but that we can find the divinity within it as well as an experience, and also within our sovereignty, that when it is time for us to leave the body, when it is time for us to have our death, our transition out of the physical form, that we can do this with absolute unconditional omni love, so that our spirit can fly free without being bound at all to the lower astral realm, so that we can really have that deepest expression within creation of the joy of each of the experiences that we have been in. So there's just some contemplations within there within this. Now let's just dive right into the Venus star point. And I have some notes here that I wanted to keep track of as I talk about this because I get really impassioned about the Venus star point. This is something that I was introduced to by the work of Ariel Gutman, and we are going to reference one of her books today as we look at this. The graph on here today is from AstroSeek. So this is a place that you can pull up a Venus star point map or a graph for any year. AstroSeek is an incredible site that has so many resources. And then, of course, I do use the Prometheus software that we can look at the true sky. So we're going to look at this in a little bit of a different way than Ariel Gutman might be looking at it, because I'm sure she's going to be talking about this next Venus star point that's coming. And the next one that's coming would be in Aries in the tropical sign, but because we are using true sky, it will be in Pisces. So we're going to really embrace the energy of Pisces as we're looking at this. Now, the Venus star point is very special. It is that moment when the sun and Venus have what is known as a cazimi or a kiss. So the sun and Venus go into perfect conjunction with each other, and each time that they do that, that happens about every 9 months. And every time that happens, there is a change in the Venus star point. Now, the Venus star point is calculated by where that kiss happens on the chart. So that kiss is going to happen in the Pisces constellation in the true sky. And again, if you are using tropical, it will be in Aries. Now, it's amazing because for a Venus cycle to go into an absolute completion in order to make this beautiful five-petaled rose over here, this is where it really comes into the idea of the Venus or the Venusian rose, is really a sacred geometry of the dance of the sun and Venus in their dance with the earth. So it creates the sacred geometry that does look like either the pentagram, so the five-pointed star, or the five-petaled rose, however you really want to look at it. It creates lots of different geometries that replicate itself within the different geometries of creation. And each Venus star point, every 9 months, it shifts between what is known as a morning Venus star and an evening Venus star, where it would either be above the horizon or below the horizon, where you would maybe see Venus out in the sky during the day versus when you see Venus shining so bright at night in the night sky. So within this, as we get to look at this, the morning star is amazing, and the morning star is what we're moving into. We've been in an evening Venus star energy. This has been happening, and I'm getting closer so I can see it. It started June 4th in 2024, and now March 22nd, 2025, it's moving into the next sign. It will not change again until January 6th of 2026, when it will move into tropical Capricorn, true sky, Sagittarius. So just some notes you can have in there. Right now, we're just going to focus on the Venus in true sky Pisces. So this is going to be moving into a morning star. So let me just talk about morning star, because this is really, it's referred to as the inferior conjunction, and it's when Venus rises before the sun, okay, symbolizing new beginnings, bold expression, initiatory energy, more independence, passionate and pioneering in its nature. So let me just reference the book here by Ariel Gutman. It's a beautiful book. It's Venus Star Rising that she has. I recommend it if this is something that inspires you. There's a lot of beautiful ways to tap into this. So within this, as we look here, the dual nature of Venus morning star and evening star. Now, it's saying that Venus star affects Earth and its inhabitants in much greater ways than anyone has yet comprehended. The myths and legends that have come down to us through the ages give Venus two faces, that of a morning star and an evening star. And the qualities ascribed to Venus in such stories seem correct when observing the star is operating in a person's life based upon the star in which you were born. The myths point to Venus as both the goddess of love and of war. Venus has a firm grip on Earth and its inhabitants, cradling us in her star pattern, keeping humans between the states of love and war. Transcending this duality so that we can reflect the love that is the core principle of Venus and the universe as the major challenge currently faced by humanity for us to do this. Accepting that Venus has a dual nature, that she is both the love goddess and the warrior goddess, acknowledges the holistic nature of Venus and of love itself. Although we may think of war more as a masculine phenomena and love as associated with the feminine principles, the ancients saw Venus as female, whether lover, evening star, or warrior, morning star. This takes on the dual nature of Venus and the dual nature of love, in which the shadow side of fear, anger, jealousy, hatred, rage, and war, fueled by a wounded or broken heart. So this is really quite amazing, because we're going to see that the morning star is going to come in with a lot more energy, a lot more vigor, a lot more kind of a passion to move forward. So again, these phrases that we were looking at here: bold expression, initiatory energy, getting up and getting things moving. That it is many times the morning star, sometimes referred to as the warrior aspect of Venus. And within this, as it shines out into the daylight, into the day sky, as she heralds her movement before the sun, this is a really great time for us to be mindful of the bigger energies that we are bringing forward. So let's spend some time here. Within this, I'm going to just talk a little bit about the Venus morning star. Again, this is going to be initiation energy. It's going to be in the energy of the gate 25. It's going to be this is the energy that it's going to kind of lock into. So even though the Venus is going to continuously move on, Venus will always be considered this star point for the entire cycle until it changes next January. So this is why this is so significant when we play with Venus star point as an energy. Now again, it's happening in the gate 25. This is all going to be about spiritual rebirth. This is going to be about emphasizing awakening and renewal and returning to authentic divine love within ourselves. This is also going to be influenced by Neptune. Now, Neptune is amazing because it's an ultra mystical activation. It's that veil that we can begin to peer beyond to see everything that's been on the other side of what the matrix is, on the other side of what the constructs of our mind have held us into seeing in this outward reality. And Neptune starts to peel away the veil so that we can see more. It can also bring disillusion, right? So it is going to call us into a purity of heart within this gate 25 that says that we need to be in alignment with our truth, not our fantasies, but our truth. And the truth within all teachings. It is stated, just kind of even calling back on the Gnostics, the truth will set you free. The truth is unchangeable. The truth doesn't change dimension to dimension, world to world, in any layer of creation. The truth is that which is aligned to the eternal life codes that exist across all fields of creation within the source fields. Therefore, it is truth. Everything else has mutability to it. Our thoughts become mutable. They change over time. Anything that is changeable, we're going to look at as something that is maybe more part of the experience. But what we are looking for is the eternal, the core, and the truth. And as we align to this, it becomes the foundation for the stepping stones of how we dream or create our future forward. So within this, knowing that, again, that the gate 25 being this gate of the spirit of the self, that this is going to be very much connected to our emerald order connections, our guardian alignment connections. That when we connect to these, that this is going to connect us again to our core of the emerald order, of the Paladorian covenant, of how we entered into this Milky Way system as agents of divine crystal love within the seed atom within our heart, so that as we incarnated into whatever form, whether you incarnated into a Pleiadian form, a Sirian form, any kind of the multiple species within the Orion system, anything, say, within the Alpha Centaurian system or the Scorpius system, or pick any system within creation, all the way down into our solar system that has itself many, many different forms, that we can imagine that holding the Paladorian covenant, that we are inherently being the ambassadors of the Christ seed template within ourselves. And that as we hold this vibration, the Venus star point this time around within this Piscean energy in the gate 25 is really opening up a major portal to the Emerald Awakening and the re-anchoring of our original angelic consciousness here onto the earth. It's just a beautiful thing for us to think about as we work within this energy. All of this is going to be an impact of relationships. How can we start to have more integrity within our relationships? Because the theme within the Venus again is social, it's interaction, it's our community, it's our values and our relationships that we have with others. So a Venus star point isn't just about an energy and who we be, but it's more about in how we hold our template in a greater whole, that we are not just one petal, but a Venus star point has an entire 8-year cycle that creates that beautiful Venusian rose, right? So that we could think of this as it's so much greater than one point, that every point also creates a part of the whole. Within this, we might also think of human design as being connected to this in a very lateral way, if we look at this, because within the 5 types of human design, that we can recognize that each one might have their unique gift and way that they're going to interact within the consciousness field of humanity, yet we're still all meant to work together. How does each type have its unique place so that all 5 harmonize as a cohesive? This is really another energy within a higher Venusian values for a way to contemplate it. Now, some of the different ways in which we can work with this Venus star cycle, being that it's in the Piscean energy, is to allow yourself to begin to just connect in to the water energy. Now, I'm going to read a couple more things from the Ariel Gutman book of the Venus Star Rising, and this is just from page 216 on the energy of Pisces, that this again is the element of water. It is an energy that is going to be connected to the energy of spirit, and Pisces itself is very connected to the vibration and the energy of the 12th house and the Neptunian energy. So this is adding to that extra vibration of Neptune joining in. So it says some keywords and concepts for Pisces are oceans, currents, a boat on the sea life, and sea climates. So she's giving some idea here of it also being connection to life cycles, spiritual dimensions, dreams, visions, and the unconscious, faith in a higher power, compassion, and sensitivity. So within this is talking about the greatest assets that we can imbue within a Venus star point in Pisces. The greatest assets are kindness, compassion, and humility that helps others greatly, a spiritual focus and psychic sensitivity that provides the capacity to feel and understand things that others do not, an inclination towards music and the arts. So that's really beautiful. The greatest liabilities or things that we might really want to watch out for within the Piscean energy is a blockage to the center of the heart. This is going to be anytime when you feel that your heart is in danger of diving into the deep waters or drowning, that you can first begin to hook into the energy of love so that you are able to love everyone without suffering. So these are just some ideas and some ways to look at that. That as we start to think of some of the other energies within the chart, that we're going to see that as the sun continues to move forward, being that Venus is in retrograde, sun is going to start to catch its energy up to Mercury. So as Sun moves into the gate 17 around the 24th, this is actually going to be really significant because the gate 17 is going to be um, a huge energy that's going to kind of bleed over into the following gate, which is going to be the gate 21, which is where our next solar eclipse is going to happen. Okay, so we're going to see that as we move past the Venus star point, the sun is eventually going to start moving into the gate 17 a couple days later on March 24th. And then it's also going to go conjunct with Mercury. Now, Mercury, again, being in this gate 17 is massive. It is still inviting us to really introspect and to reflect on our thought forms within our mind and to make sure that we are cleaning out our closets within our memory banks, our thoughts, and the ways that we believe within in order to restructure those things in order for it to fit the dream we actually want to create. So remember, we're moving away from delusion and we're moving away from fantasy and we're moving into the truth. So being really brutally honest with ourselves a lot of times into how are we moving forward. Now, within this, as Venus is going to remain conjunct with Neptune in the gate 25, but on the 27th, Uranus is actually going to have a move. It's going to go out of the gate 23 and into the gate 8, which is amazing. So it's going to start to move a little bit further away from the energy of Algol, which is great. And the gate 8, I love because that's about unique expression in your own creativity. So it's kind of like a burst of energy from the vibration of your spirit of how do you want to be creative within this experience. So within this, as we just wanted to touch on again, Psyche is still within the mix of all these energies, really kind of more influencing within the Mercury still. So this is how we are developing even our empathy and intuition outside of the wounds of the past, and where can we begin to embrace really just going for it. Let's just live life, right? It's like, how long have we been dragging around the stories and the wounds and the traumas of the past, that there are so many incredible resources to process things so quickly, that the quicker we can just recognize, man, I get it. That was a part of my life, but I am not going to let that eat up or use up any more of my energy into the future joy, happiness, and dreams that you be creating into the future. That we can start to recognize that it's like we can honor the past, we can remember it to a degree that it is something that we have learned from, but we do not need to continuously carry it forward so that it's projecting its energy or beliefs or filters into anything we decide in the future. That as we look at this, just some of the other energies that are really quite prominent within here, that we have some vibrations that we get to see. Sedna, again, still kind of in a bit of an influence with the Uranus energy for a bit. And this is the depths. This is just bringing out our energy from the depths. We have Hygeia within here, which again is really kind of structural healing energy. We have the vibration of Ceres in this nurturing energy. We talked about a lot of these in our last report, but I scrolled this out a little further so we could actually see Juno and Vesta in there, because these are actually quite amazing. They're a little bit more in the Virgo energy. And if we actually go back to see them over here, we're going to see we got one kind of on the cusp. So Juno just a bit on the cusp, and Vespa fully in the Libra energy there. So you can see them over here on the right hand side. And these are amazing because this is just, I wanted to bring this as an energy in because these are about devotion. What are we committing to? What are we gonna have an absolute devotion to? This is what I love about Vesta, is it's that place that you can fall in love with when you're doing your mantras, when you're doing your devotional practice, when you're connecting in your meditations or doing doing your breath work with the guides. This is incredible. And Juno is that energy of which you are willing to make that commitment and to see things through with. So as you think about these projections, remember these are all energies that are illuminating into our fields and our shields. So whether it be our more surface conscious or the more subtle layers of our unconscious or deep, deep subconscious that we are not aware of, that it's still influencing us. And so, what ways can you begin to kind of look at some of these energies so that you can work with these vibrations in the most beautiful way? Some ideas to work with the Venus star point as it's moving through, as it begins to move into this energy on Saturday, is really to think about what would you want to do as maybe a water ritual. Maybe it would be a nice bath. Maybe it could be something that you could actually go into, say, breath work or dream work in order to move into the liminal spaces of that ocean of all creation in the source fields. This is a very beautiful time for heart-based and heart-centered practices. Whether it's some place in which you are going to do a devotional practice into venerating and loving yourself, healing your own heart, loving who you are. This could be mirror work, looking in the mirror and truly, authentically saying to yourself in the mirror, I love you, and really beginning to sense all the beautiful aspects that you be. There is a beautiful mirror practice that can be done in which you look in the mirror and you begin to tell yourself in the mirror, speaking to that image, all of the things that you love about yourself, all of the different qualities that you love about yourself, and all of the different things that you are empowering yourself to step into being. And as you begin to step into those things, you can start to feel the authenticity within that. And the other aspect of it, there's actually, because we can work with Venus in both ways as she's shifting. Remember, this is the warrior energy, the morning star. Well, another mirror practice, which sounds counterintuitive, is to actually look in the mirror and to actually speak out loud to yourself in that image in the mirror all the things that you don't love about yourself. Now, hear this practice out for a minute. When you speak this into the mirror, what you're doing is you're speaking out all of your limiting beliefs about yourself, all of the things that you feel guilty about or shame about, or all of the things that maybe you've been hanging on to or haven't been able to let go, or the traumas that you haven't been able to process. And so what you would do is you would just speak it out as I am, and then you would speak out maybe whatever abuse had happened to you, trauma had happened to you, experience or whatever, guilt or shame or any of those things. And as you speak it out, you're going to do this multiple times. Now, there is a practice within this where you actually would shift masks, that you would actually then put a mask on and then say that all over again, and then change the mask and put another mask on and say it all over again. One of the powers of this practice is actually that the more you speak it over and over into the face, the more it actually starts to sound ludicrous. It just starts to sound ridiculous, almost kind of like you're saying it, but you can't even believe it because you realize it's not truth. It's not truth. It doesn't hold up in the authenticity of the entirety of the eternal flame of the cosmos. So, no matter what limiting belief you have about yourself or insecurity or trauma you've ever held, when you speak it into the mirror, it can't uphold itself because it's not truth. And eventually, as you say it, you might even start to laugh or even to just start to find yourself not even be able to finish it because it just doesn't hold the weight of truth. And so then as you process that, it's kind of like you take the weight or the heaviness out of these unspoken hidden things inside, and you bring them out into the point where they don't have any power over you anymore. And then as you're done speaking that out, then you go right back into really speaking the authenticity, the truth, that you are amazing, that you are incredible, that you are a divine eternal star, that you are a crystal being, that you do have the light of the eternal flame within you. all of the different things and beauties that you want to hold within. It is a really, really, really powerful time. This is a great time for really stepping into downloads, especially with Psyche within these positions within here. And within here, as just in whatever way you feel inspired, allow this energy just to bring you forward into a new level within yourself. Again, brutally, radically honest with yourself. Bring to the light of truth any of those limiting beliefs that you have about yourself. Speak them out, write them out, do whatever you need, and until you go over them and over them so many times that they seem absolutely ridiculous, so that you can finally get to that place within yourself that says, I am so done playing these childlike games of the victim victimizer program. I'm done with this and I'm ready to be free with this now. And so as we look at this, we're going to just step into recognizing we will then be moving into the gate 17 again around the 24th. The gate 17 again right here, March 24th, the sun moves into it. And as we move into this energy, we've been talking about the gate 17 because Mercury's been in there and retrograde. Psyche is in here right now. So this is again really being the mindfulness of those BS thoughts that we keep in our head that are those limiting beliefs and anxieties and worries and stresses and all those things we hold about everything that keeps us feeling like we're not good enough yet. And where can we begin to just dispel all of those limiting opinions and start to really step in to the omni love of creation, really to start to see things with our greater wisdom. So those are some of the energies that we are going to be looking at for this next week. Now, as we look at this, I did want to share, and this time I'm going to share from a beautiful deck. This is the Kuan Yin Oracle, and this one's also by Alana Fairchild. Really, really beautiful. And this I thought was amazing because all this energy had everything to do with really community, connection, sisterhood, if you will. Think of this also as a lateral brotherhood. So just a family energy. So the first card is the card 19. And it is the card of the Holy Sisters. This is so beautiful. And it says, I am bringing you the gift of kindred spirits. These are helpful friends for your life journey. You have the power to help others and are worthy of being helped too. You are a keeper of the wisdom of the heart, and you understand that there is no need for competition or comparison. There is more than enough for all to experience abundance of blessings. You know that when true spiritual success comes for one, the resources available for all only increase. Enjoy the sacred connections that I am sending your way. Nourish and be nourished as you gather in my name. So I absolutely love Kuan Yin. She's actually one of my first tattoos. I forgot, so I always giggle that I carry her with me everywhere I go. Now the next one that I thought was super beautiful, and this is moving into this next energy. Let me grab it here. It's the Sisters of the Sacred Spiral. So yet another one. It says, I create by weaving a web of love, drawing threads from the past and looping these with threads of the future, drawing them together back and forth over time until the beautiful present moment is rich, full, and abundant with love interwoven. When that happens, the plan that I have been lovingly preparing for you suddenly appears to come together. All the preparation finally showing itself in effect. This time for acknowledgement and celebration shall soon come for you. My weaving hand is steady, sure, and swift, and the threads of your life are rapidly taking shape to reveal the most beautiful divine plans for you. This is key. This is so powerful for our last report we did, talking about again that a lot of times we want to see a dream into the future and then we keep going like, oh, it's not happening, it's not working. Well, we have to take that first step, weave it thread by thread, and before you know it, it all comes into place. Before you know it, a year has passed and you look back and you're like, oh my gosh, there it is. Like it happened. I was thinking about this last year. And the final card, how perfect is this, you guys? And this again, going to be really the energy of the in between our eclipses really kind of welcoming the new energy of the spring equinox and then the brand new Venus star point. And it says the slave dances into freedom. And it says, I overcome restraint, imprisonment, and conflict with a greater power, that of love. You have been on a path that no longer serves your highest good. Whether you believe you have chosen that path or it seems to have taken on a life of its own through habit and momentum, the time has come for you to be free from it. I shall free you from the negative influence of even the most persistent struggle or devastating conditions with one simple gesture. Do not be attached to the war you have endured, my beloved wild warrior. It is over by my grace. You are enslaved no longer. It is your time to step forward. You are granted a free pass by the hand of grace, and a new reality of freedom is yours. No, there is no guilt or fear over this. It is your time to dance from slavery into freedom. Others will join you when their time comes. No longer are you required to go into battle. Come join my joyful dance of freedom. Within this, I really took from this that this is really starting to embrace us to a time of more community, of gathering, of coming together in celebration. So, within this, with so much love, I hope this gives you something to contemplate as we move into this new Venus star point, as we move into it within the Piscean true sky energy, that we can really take this on a spiritualized path. How is this going to awaken the spirituality within us? How can we even embrace its beautiful energy that is being held by Sun and Neptune energy simultaneously within the gate 25. And then as we do this, truly, this embraces all of it. A slave no more, right? A slave dances to freedom. We are done with the victim victimizer program. We can truly begin to dance in that joy and know that the love is eternal within our heart. So with so much love, I share all of this with the greatest of blessings, and I will see you at our next star report. Thank you so much.